Christian Braun got paid, but Peyton Watson did not get extended by the Denver Nuggets. We will talk about why that was or wasn't a good decision and give you our takes on that. Opening night in the NBA on NBC's debut. Oh, and that's right. I got dunked on a lot. Very, very sore. We'll talk about it on Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day, being an everydayer, hanging out with us Monday through Friday, making us your first listen. You guys are what make this show go, and we're so thankful for each and every one of you as we head into the Nuggets 2025-26 season. Recording this on Tuesday night. 2 nights from now, 48 hours from now, Ryan Blackburn and I will be bringing you post-game coverage of the Nuggets opening versus the Golden State Warriors. Cannot wait. On today's show, we're going to talk about Peyton Watson and the decision not to extend him. We'll talk about our thoughts on that, whether the Nuggets should have extended him, why they didn't, and give you some more perspective on what this means about the future of building the Nuggets around Nikola Jokic. We'll also give you our thoughts on opening night in the NBA, an instant classic between the Rockets and the Thunder, and what we learned about the Western Conference chase this season for Denver. And in the final segment, the media played the assistant coaches for the Denver Nuggets. Not even the former NBA player assistant coaches. And it went about how you'd expect. I competed, I fought the law, and the law won. We'll talk about that in the final segment. Well, we start today by letting you know that my name is Matt Moore. I write for the Denver Dig. I wrote my thoughts on the CB and Peyton Watson decisions and what this means for Denver over at the Denver Dig. I will have a preview up previewing the opening night game between the Denver Nuggets and the Golden State Warriors there as well. And I'm sure that Ryan Blackburn will do the same because Ryan Blackburn writes for Mile High Sports. You can also catch him on the Pickaxe and Roll podcast. This podcast is brought to you tonight by ibuprofen because I have taken a lot of it because I am a 43-year-old man that ran up and down and decided that the one thing he was going to do was not allow easy buckets today versus people younger, faster, taller, better, and more athletic than him. So I am currently waiting to take more ibuprofen before I go to bed. But we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. Ryan, so we have Swipe did the show on Christian's extension.
Yeah.
Christian, 5 years, 125.
Yep.
Everybody's kind of already talked about it. We've given our thoughts on various platforms. I will ask you, though, real quick for the audience that wants to know your thoughts on it. What was your reaction when you found out the number at 5 years, 125, 25 mil per year AAV?
Weird. It's like we've been talking about it. Like we've been saying that would be a pretty good fit. Well, I was at the DMV. I was refilling my car registration, which had unceremoniously expired. And I got the notification, looked down just like everybody else. Okay, hey, they got it done. They don't have to think about it anymore. It's in the bag. You can just look forward and think about basketball. To me, this was a fair number for both sides. It's one where as the market will continue to increase, I know everybody's scared of the second apron right now. There's been an overcorrection to the second apron, in my opinion. And as people get a little bit more comfortable with paying money again, the rates are going to go up. And I think the Nuggets will have saved some money on this Christian Braun extension down the line. That is my expectation. And whether that comes to pass or would have come to pass remains to be seen. But I thought it was a good deal.
What was the pathway for them to have to spend more on Christian?
I think that it's one of those teams where you're going to get cap space teams next year. I think there are more cap space teams that are coming. And especially more so than this year, where it was an absurdly low number of actual cap space teams. I think that you'll get more. And I think the Nuggets, like knowing that they can be squeezed, knowing that they could be pressured by the second apron, they would have had to fight off some suitors. They would have had to fight off some suitors like a Brooklyn team that probably would have liked to go get Jordi Fernandez's former player. You could have seen other teams like with cap space, potentially the Utah Jazz, as they try to turn their years around. It wouldn't have surprised me if they would have thrown a bag at Christian Braun just to get a little bit more stable in their backcourt. I think that overall, like you don't want to get hit with a $30 million price tag going forward. Denver's going to get hit with a $25 million AAV price tag going forward. It looks like the cap is like the number's going to be escalating. And it just wouldn't surprise me if a team would be willing to challenge the Nuggets. And whether it would be successful remains to be seen. But fortunately, the Nuggets do not have to deal with that at all.
Yeah, I don't know if the offer would have been there, which is why I think there's been some criticism of the deal. I don't mind doing it just because for me, this is like a lot more, as always with me, I'm always kind of more designed to, at this point in my career, look at the big picture. Ownership loves Christian Braun. They believe in Christian Braun. They got rid of Kentavious. Well, not got rid of. They did not attempt to retain Kentavious Caldwell-Pope in a serious manner, in large part because there wasn't any point in trying to, because ownership wanted Christian Braun to start. They were ready for that. Ownership believes in Christian Braun. That makes a difference. Everybody believes in Christian Braun. There's nobody in the building that doesn't believe in Christian. He doesn't have, it's not like there are guys that don't like playing with him. The most important players on the player love playing with him. He has all sorts of backing. He and Jamal were locker room. Christian's locker was right next to Jamal's, so he learned a lot from Jamal. He has a good relationship with Jamal. He has a great relationship with Nikola. He's got a great relationship with Aaron. He's got a great relationship with the coaching staff, at least David Adelman, the guys that were left over. So, nobody was going to be like, oh, I don't know. I don't agree with you on the idea that, people will get comfortable spending into the second apron again. It's too restrictive. You just can't do it. The inability for you to be like, this guy is being a locker room problem and we're sick of it and we want to ship him out, but we can't because we can't aggregate salaries with him. That alone is a prohibitive kind of situation. So I'm fine with this extension. I think Christian Braun is great. He's young. He plays a lot of games. He's only going to get better. I don't know how much better the only question about Christian Braun is, what is the ceiling? That's it. Because the floor will continue to rise. Christian's floor is not going to drop. He's not going to get lazy. He's not going to get tired. He's not going to there's no sign of that. Christian's not going to get worse as a finisher. He's not going to get worse as a shooter. He's not going to get worse as a passer. He's not going to get worse as a defender. He will sharpen. Now, he may have years where he doesn't shoot as well, but his mechanics will improve. So, there's no risk here with, this could turn out to be a really bad deal. The question is whether it turns out to be really prohibitive and what it costs you. Because I did say this on The Dig, and I do believe it. Let's assume, as we all believe, Nikola Jokic will sign the extension next summer.
Yeah.
You will not have Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, Christian Braun, and Aaron Gordon on this team in 2 years. It will not happen. One of those guys is going. You have to fill out the rest of the roster, and you just don't have enough money.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I will say that as they continue to commit to players like Jalen Pickett on the back end, Deron Holmes on the back end, Julian Strawther on the back end, it's going to be hard to retain all of those guys, but they will potentially be able to retain them for a cheaper bargain, especially because they're going to be playing smaller roles than somebody like Christian Braun has for the past year. I think that Peyton Watson's probably the one that you won't be able to retain as a result. And they kind of ran into that in basically deciding, hey, we're probably they couldn't agree to a contract extension. I wasn't privy to those talks, obviously, so I don't know what the actual ask was, but I can't imagine that they were that close because Peyton Watson wants to be paid like a starter and the Nuggets cannot pay him even like a average bench player.
I'm going to assume that you think that they should have given Watson the extension.
Well, it depends on what the offer was and what they could have been able to give him. If it was a 4-year, $45 million contract, then yeah, I think you do it. And I think you figure out the cap logistics later. If it was a 4-year, $58 million contract, kind of similar to the one Nikola Jovic signed with the Miami Heat, he got 4 years, 62. Then no, you're not going to do that because Jovic has proven more. But that's kind of the going rate for these fringe, like young guys that you believe can develop into a starter in the future. And so if that's what Peyton was asking for, then no, I'm not surprised that Denver didn't sign that. And no, they cannot even afford to give him that. Like if they're not going to pay the second apron.
I do think I did predict this. This was my prediction, was that Christian was going to get extended. I thought it might want to have been a little bit higher, and I'm actually kind of impressed that they held the line at 25. I think that's a good job by them.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's like, is Christian Braun worth $5 million more than Tumani Camara? Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Like some people would say no, and that's fine. You can have that opinion. I think Christian's a more complete player, so I think he's worth $5 million more. There have been comparisons to Nikhil Alexander-Walker, different situation. He was an unrestricted free agent in a terrible market. This is more about like keeping your guy, retaining him, and setting him up to have the kind of raise structure that he deserves.
Yeah. 6-man versus starter as well.
I don't really care about that. I think it's all about how important you are as a player. And I think Nikhil Alexander-Walker is important. The thing though is like Christian passes the mustard as a player that you do commit money to, and you are willing to not squeeze. Peyton does not. And any player that is not like just below CB's level, everybody else gets squeezed. Yeah. Not money wise, but just like Tumani Camara is like on the level of Christian Braun. He makes $5 million more. Like they're on the same level. I agree that Christian Braun's a better player, but it's not like you would be like, oh man, Christian Braun is like leaps and bounds better. Like he's better.
No, they're different. And one of them is with the Nuggets, and so he's going to get the Jokic boost, and one of them is not. And so that's mostly what that looks like. Also, Camara was a second round pick, so the situation again from a extension standpoint, a little bit different.
So I'm not surprised that they're going to squeeze Watson. The most interesting quote from David Alman today at practice was that he said, Peyton can have the kind of year that gets him where he wants to go. And he meant that as a player, like he can get to where he wants to be as a player and get paid as such. But to me, I also just kind of think this is like, I think there's a real possibility that Peyton Watson plays so well, they have to trade him because he's too valuable. They can't afford to keep him. And like, that's where you and I will probably butt heads again, is like, you'll be like, you should keep the guy and just pay him and then figure it out. And I'll be like, no, you trade him.
No, it's tough. Like and there's plenty that we could potentially discuss on this, and we should probably discuss at a future date. But I do have thoughts on like the kind of archetype that Peyton Watson would play within the Nuggets. Denver can replace that. It's what he could do for other teams that are willing to give him a starting position down the line that I think he is more valuable to going forward.
Coming up, great opening night of the NBA on Peacock. We'll talk about the presentation of the games, the Rockets and the Thunder, what it means for the Western Conference, all that and more coming up here on Locked On Nuggets. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Every day we make decisions, but on Prize Picks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season with Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Playing Prize Picks is such a fun, simple way to add more excitement to football. You just pick more or less on player projections, like Josh Allen's passing yards or Saquon Barkley rushing for a touchdown, and you're in the game. Really fascinating game again this weekend for the Broncos. Just like a really fascinating kind of matchup here with a high-powered offense, but not a great defense. So you might want to go more on those Bo Nix rushing touchdowns, because he did have 2 in that fourth quarter, in the only quarter where they scored. So you can get in there with more on Bo Nix. You can get in on some of the other plays as well with the NBA back. You can also do more points, rebounds, and assists for Alperen Şengün. Looks like it might be a great one this season. Download the Prize Pick apps today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Good to be right. We're also brought to you today by Built. Nobody likes paying rent, but if you must, you might as well get something for it. That's where Built comes in. Built's changing the game by turning your rent payment into real rewards you can actually see. When you pay rent through Built, you earn flexible points that can be redeemed toward hundreds of hotels and airlines, a future rent payment, your next Lyft ride, and more. But Built isn't just about rent. It's about rewarding you around your entire neighborhood. Your rent finally works for you. You're earning points every month on something you already have to pay. They've got They make everyday life feel more rewarding, from your neighborhood to your travel plans. Turn your rent into rewards and start earning points around your neighborhood by going to joinbuilt.com/lockedonnba. That's joinbilt.com/lockedonnba. Make sure to use that link so they know we sent you. joinbilt.com/lockedonnba. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Warriors are going to get the win versus the Lakers. We're recording this live on Tuesday night. They're going to get the win and go to 1-0. Lakers go to 0-1. Not a good defensive or offensive effort, honestly, by the Los Angeles Lakers. But Luka Doncic got lots of stats, so that's neat for him. Let's talk about the early game. I am so glad to have NBA on NBC back. Ryan, the NBA on NBC was already gone by the time you were born, yes?
Well, born in 1996, so it was still around for a while, but
you were
certainly by the time I was watching the NBA, it was not there.
You were rattling. It was what got me into the NBA. It was, I would, on Sundays, sit in front of the TV. I would read the newspaper because that was still a thing that existed.
What's that?
And they would print the box scores of all of the games. And I would just read the box scores and watch Barkley versus Hakeem, or Barkley versus the Admiral, or Drexler versus Jordan, and just watch these Sunday games. And that, hearing that intro tonight just got me so excited. It was so phenomenal. So great to have it back. I thought NBC did a terrific job of making the game feel like a big deal. There is a very dedicated effort this season from the TV partners to return the focus to the game, and I am very excited about that. Did that convey for you?
Oh yeah, I just want to note that Matt Moore has always been a box score watcher, folks. No, I think that the most important thing that came from tonight for NBC was that it felt like a cinematic experience again, like an actual experience to watch basketball, as opposed to something that was butchered, separated up into a whole bunch of different small segments, little pieces, trying to retain people's their actual watchability for 90 seconds at a time, 60 seconds at a time. Everybody's looking down at their phones. Nobody's going to watch the game. But then NBC, lo and behold, they did the thing where they had the halftime show on the court. That was really cool. They had the MJ conversation at halftime, which I'm sure will be played, and there will be plenty of segments through that. And something that was probably pre-recorded a while ago, but still a good thing to hear from a guy like Michael Jordan. And then the actual presentation itself, Mike Tirico was fantastic. I thought that the combination of Reggie Miller and Jamal Crawford, they were very on the, oh yeah, you used to make that move, or Sam Cassell used to do that all the time. And it was actually very interesting and pretty nostalgic to hear about all of these former players and the way that the game has kind of grown and evolved and is being showcased in a very cool and interesting light, while kind of touching on the history of it. So I loved it. I thought the experience was really clean. I thought the visuals were really nice. I thought NBC did a great job with the cinematic aspect of it. Just a really impressive display.
Hurricane says we'll see how that commitment goes when ESPN gets their debut. It's a fair statement, although I will say ESPN is running these Coaches Corner segments with legs. I really like those. I think they're really good. So that's terrific. A guy like Michael Jordan, you mean the greatest of all time, Still Wolf says. Okay. So let's talk about the game. Really interesting Thunder Rockets game. No Jay Will and no Isaiah Joe. No Kenrich Williams. So they didn't really have a small ball option to go to, which I think is probably a wrinkle that won't get discussed much.
Well, they did have AJ Mitchell, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Dude, unbelievable.
Sam Presti.
Keep getting away with it.
A warlock just creates them out of thin air, creative players that can drop 20 in the game. You as a Thunder fatalist, were you blown away by OKC tonight?
No.
Yeah.
I thought that. Now, look, here's the thing. Season openers can be a little bit weird for everybody involved. Sure. I remember this dating back for the past 5 years, that every single time I tune into a season opener, the game gets really weird at various points. And the Rockets made it even weirder by starting Kevin Durant at shooting guard. Like it was an odd situation for OKC to have to navigate, but it did kind of show some of their weaknesses, I think, in dealing with size and dealing with athletic and versatile size. Şengün was unbelievable in this game. Just really impressed with what he's done so far. We're gonna have to eat some crow on that Jokic comparing to Şengün episode because that dude looks awesome. He looks unbelievable, man.
Still doesn't look like Jokic. I feel no shame. I bet him to win MVP. I'm covered, Ryan. And I took him the over on I took him 33.5 over points, rebounds, and assists tonight. That was my 2-star bet last night on buckets. I'm covered. I think he's awesome. I just don't think he's Jokic.
Yeah, that's it. It shouldn't be the insult that it probably feels like to fans from Turkey. But I was not super impressed with OKC. Now, to be fair, Shea turned it on. Shea looked great in the fourth quarter and overtime. The way that he kind of navigated and was a little bit tentative in the first through 3 quarters, like kind of settling into the game, settling into the season a little bit. But Chet Holmgren looked great. Cason Wallace looks great. I still think they're a wagon, man. Like they're maybe a more beatable wagon, but they also didn't have their all-star, their second all-star that a lot of people will rank in the top 12 in the NBA this year.
Top 12?
I've seen him higher. I've seen him as high as 8.
Where?
I think it was Yahoo. I want to say it was Yahoo.
Oh my! I love J. Will, but it's
aggressive.
OKC with 26 points off of turnovers. Houston's going to have trouble with ball pressure. I think so. That's an interesting one with Denver. I don't know if Denver has the ability to apply that much with their personnel, but that needs to be an area of emphasis, especially at home, is creating turnovers and running off of them versus Houston. Houston's had their number lately.
Yeah.
And, with Durant, it's going to be tough. So it is kind of interesting in that I think the Nuggets are a tier above Houston after the Fred VanVleet injury. But I don't hate the matchup for Houston. So Denver needs to be able to showcase that they are just resoundingly better with Cam and the depth to be able to manage these type of things. Although I do like their odds versus the double big lineup for a number of reasons.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to track throughout the year. I enjoyed watching it more so than anything. Like, it is nice to see something different in the NBA. And I do think that Houston, although the reason why this is happening is because they've had to get creative with their lineups. Like, I wish that Fred VanVleet was out there, but now that they're trying to get creative, Amen is going to be fantastic throughout the year. He's going to develop. But you could see their weaknesses without having him on the floor. And there's so many things that you could go to, but Şengün, man, like I do think he's going to take a leap. He is. This is a different version of Şengün that we're seeing.
Hurricane says, I like how Matt has slowly turned himself into a Nugget skeptic. Joke's on you. I picked them to win the title today.
we did it last year too, remember?
Yep. Coming up. So your boy had a day. We'll talk about what it's like when media schmoes go up against NBA assistant coaches. Coming up next on Locked On Nuggets. Let's be real. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stress. I'm tired. My roster's not good enough. Alex Caruso's fouling me. It happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support. And that's where Rougier comes in. Rougier.com offers fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rougier makes it to get started. You just connect with a board-certified doctor, 100% online. No awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments. The process is fast, simple, and private, and it's all handled by real doctors. Visit Rougier.com/LockedOnNBA to get 15% off your first order. That's Rougier.com/LockedOnNBA. And don't forget to use our code LockedOnNBA so they know we sent you. Rougier. Stop making excuses and start making moves. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Can I mention that I really like the way that Şengün just played through Alex Caruso and just like scored on him consistently down the stretch and wasn't like just trying to draw fouls? I really like that. That was like a really good.
It's sometimes an old dog needs to learn some new tricks, man. So hopefully, I mean, Joker, I think was gassed by the end of that series. I know that's what you're talking about, but he's got to just simplify the game in those matchups.
So I want to tell the story real quickly before we get out of here.
Okay.
The Nuggets hosted media training camp today, and they've done this a couple of times. I think only one more time since I've been here. And they bring the media in, and what happens is Felipe runs us through professional training, as for not professional, like a stretching drill. It's nothing. It's just stretches, and like warm-ups. And then today was different because we actually broke into groups of 4 and played 4-on-4 versus, or was it 4-on-4? It was 5-on-5.
5-on-5.
It was 5-on-5.
It might have felt like 4-on-4, but it was
5-on-5. It felt like 5. It felt like 5-on-15 is what it felt like. And we played 4-minute quarters, broken into these teams, and it went about as you would expect. And it should be noted, Jared Dudley did not participate. Jose Juan Barea did not participate. Ryan Bowen did not participate. These are all 3 former NBA players.
They could have.
And like, I'm thankful, not only from the perspective of I was really, because like Ryan will tell you, not good, not athletic, not coordinated, but I ran hard. Like, I played hard in this game. Like, I played as hard as I can in this game. And I would have tried to bust through a Jared Dudley screen, and I would have died. But I'm also glad, because I was kind of like, look, they just don't need to be like lowering themselves to this. And like, honestly, the assistant coaching staff today didn't need to do that either. John Beckett and crew did not need to do this. And I'm really grateful that they did, because it was fun and we had a really good time. And we try, and like, the reason that I participated was very seriously, like, so Joe Mazzulla did this with the Celtics guys. And then afterwards was like, I do think this was actually really meaningful, because we got to kind of humanize one another, because we only interact in a business environment. And I will tell you, the reason that both times that they have done this, that I have participated despite having no business being on that court, is because I do think it's really important. Like, they will play this tape in the locker room for the players to laugh at. And I do think it's really important for me to be accountable for the fact that I understand that I cover individuals and am critical at times of individuals who are capable of things that I neither understand nor can execute in any possible scenario. And I think and the performance of me going through this it's the process of me recognizing how hard I know that is. And that's why, like, there was no way I was going to skip out today. Like, I was like, nope, going to do it. And I wasn't going to play, because I was just like, I don't want to drag down everybody by being on there. Like, I don't want to be useless and be the reason somebody can't compete. But like, there was a team that needed me to play, so I played. And then Ryan, my wife was very upset with me.
Oh, why
because
was she upset?
I was relating what happened, and I said, well, I ran back really hard to get under the basket and stop, because they were just like constantly throwing laser dimes up the court on outlet passes.
Sure.
Way faster, and nobody was getting back. So my only thing is, I came into that game being like, I'm not going to give them anything easy. Like, they're going to have to actually work for this. I'm not letting them just get breakaways. I will be back. And then my wife stopped me on the walk and was like, you didn't try and defend them at the rim, did you?
Let me tell you, folks, he did. He did it on several occasions. And there was one occasion where he did get a stop. I want to make that publicly
clear. Sir.
Well, I mean, on a dunk, on a dunk specifically. He disrupted the dunk enough. It wasn't a foul. It was legal defense, and the dunk was missed. That was not the only time that somebody attempted to dunk on Matt Moore today.
I asked Ryan, because I was like, I blacked out. Was it 5? And he was like, no, it was only 3. You're okay. It was a lot. It was just a lot. It was just a lot dealing with guys. And the other thing that I was honestly worried about with this is, like, I want to contest and I want to like play hard, but I don't want to hurt. Like, I don't want to hurt anybody, not from the perspective of like, I'm this imposing figure, but I'm awkward and don't know what I'm doing in that kind of speed and environment.
No, I think you did it exactly right. Honestly, I think the way that you handled it, you were there, but you weren't jumping up at the time to like contest in the air and pushing people in the air and things like that. No, it was more of a, I'm going to try to at least be here. And these way better athletes are going to find a way. Like, because the thing is it's not just like other 5'11", 6 foot guys. Like these are 6'8" former players. Like these are pretty big guys. So it was interesting to watch. That basically all of the media kind of rotated out, and I didn't play personally. I'll make a commitment to playing next year. I'm going to be in a better physical place where I can play and do the things. Although I do have a hernia, so that was the other actual.
I would not have allowed you to play if you I would not have allowed you to play. I would have been like, no, I would have stopped you from doing that.
I appreciate it.
Like,
it was interesting because like Vic got the scoring going for the media, and then Katie hit a corner three.
Katie hit a corner three. Adam was looking passes.
Zach Bai got
MVP of the day. Zach Bai was a baller. He was great.
Absolutely. Like he looked like he maybe not belonged, but like he looked like he deserved to get the opportunity out there. Absolutely.
The final score was 114 to 16.
Yeah. They nearly won by 100.
Didn't lose by 100.
Yeah, that's true.
Didn't lose by 100. Harrison did not play. Harrison Wind was not available today.
I was wondering because he's the previous MVP.
Honestly, I'll go ahead and throw this out there. 33% of Locked On Nuggets played in this contest, and had Swipa had more advance notice, he would have been here and he would have played.
He would have flown out. Like he was talking about it. He wanted to.
1/8 of DNVR played.
No, I'll give Nick, who is their social media guy. He did also.
He doesn't count.
Oh, okay.
Nick doesn't count. He's still the new kid to me.
Yeah, no. We needed the temporary credential for Eric Weedham. For T-Line, that would have been great.
No vote.
No
wins.
No.
Dev has an excuse. He suffered an injury.
Yeah, Dev's also he's good. Like he could play.
He could play. I'm just saying. I was out there. I did the job. Where you guys at?
What gives? I thought that Bennett wasn't going to play. He was not there for the warm up and for the.
Yeah, he was writing. He was like, I had to do my job, and I was like,
idiot. Like, what are you doing
down here? Well, Matt Brooks originally was not going to play. He showed up in jorts, and I was like, oh no, sir. No.
Man,
so, look, a good time was had by all. I appreciate the Nuggets for hosting us. Honestly, like a lot of my thought was just like, look, these trainers could charge 5 figures an hour for their services. These are professional assistant coaches in the best league in the world. And for them to give us an hour and a half, 2 hours of their time was very gracious of them.
Yeah.
So I'm very appreciative of them and Nuggets PR for putting it together. And I hope that the Nuggets players enjoy cackling as I get absolutely annihilated. Also, I slipped and fell and now have floor burn. And
it was not a pretty fall as well.
Graceful. Nope. It's not like, look, yeah, it's not bad. All right. It's got to do it for Locked On Nuggets. Appreciate you guys being with us. We will be back tomorrow. We're going to get together and do a triple threat episode to preview the season and give predictions tomorrow. So we will talk about that tomorrow. Then on Thursday, no show. We're not going to do a show in the afternoon because it's too close to the game. After the show, you'll have Ryan Blackburn and me. We'll be back here breaking down game 1 of the 2025-26 Nuggets season.
Ooh.
Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys being with us. We'll see you guys again next time on Locked On Nuggets. I'm so sore and tired. I'm so old.